Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Maxin TV. I'm your host, Max Lannisman. We got a great show for you tonight. We have here Jason Caref. He is the co-founder and owner of Clark Street Sports, probably the absolute #1 place to buy any sportswear in the Chicago area. So they've been selling since 2004, I believe. They have, I believe, roughly 17 stores, retail locations. Chances are, if you're in Chicago and if you bought any type of merchandise, you probably bought it from them. Again, they only do Chicago stuff. So you have Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Bulls, Bears. They also do City of Chicago stuff. Obviously, they do a lot of masks nowadays. It's a real honor to have them on the show. Hope you guys enjoy. Take it easy. All right, so I got here Jason Caref. He is the owner of Clark Street Sports, probably the place to buy essentially any type of sportswear in the Chicago area. Jason, thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No problem.
Yeah, it's truly an honor. You guys are big time. You guys are, when you actually type in sportswear or something like that on Google in Chicago, besides for the advertisements, you guys are like #1. You guys are like you guys are #1 on the what for real. Like, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't. That's awesome.
What?
That's I can't take any credit for the web stuff. That my partner Phil runs the IT for a company, and obviously he's doing a great job. That's pretty awesome.
I told you that I liked your website. I thought it was really easy to navigate. It's really nice. And is Phil responsible for that as well, or?
Yeah, he runs all the IT and is responsible for the web. So I'll have to give him a handshake or a hug and let him know he's doing a good job.
Yeah, holy hell! I mean, you're out. I mean, there are a couple of really big players in your arena, but you're #1.
I'm William Shatner. I've done a lot of things in my career, but this takes the cake. This is so cool. You, Jason, today it's all about you. You won the internet. Congratulations. It's exciting. It makes me want to celebrate. Makes me want to get up out of this chair. Makes me want to sing. Makes me want to dance. Makes me want to shout. Kick my heels up. Throw my hands up. Toss my head back. No, really, people should be shouting your name in the street.
Come on now. Sing
that song.
Jason,
Sing it out loud.
Jason.
I want to celebrate. Put it up in lights.
The internet's belong to you.
See, no one else deserves to be celebrated like you because you are the best.
I want you to know.
I want you to know.
I said I want you to know.
I want you to know right now you make me want to shout. That's right, you make me want to shout because there really is no doubt. You know what I'm talking about because you make me want to shout. Yeah! You make me wanna.
So, I mean, that's a big deal and a big market. Chicago is not a small market. Big stuff. How did you guys get started? You told me you originally bought it. You know, it wasn't as big, obviously, when you bought it. You kind of made it into what it is. Can you tell me a little bit about the background of the company?
No, yeah, we actually did not buy it. So what happened? It's a long story, but it's a good thing we're on TV. We have some time here. So I grew up around Wrigley Field in Chicago, and outside, this was the mid '80s, and I was a little kid, and I used to kind of hang around not just the ball players, Ryan Sandberg and Leon Durham and all those guys, but I'd hang around the park. And these were the days when the ushers would let you in free in like the 5th inning or whatever. I mean, it was a lot looser rules back then. Right. And I got to know people around the stadium. They knew me as a neighborhood kid, and they knew my name. And I just got to know a lot of people. And one person I met was selling souvenirs outside this stadium. He was actually selling sunglasses, and they weren't like licensed sunglasses or anything like that. Just sunglasses you'd see it today. Kind of knockoff sunglasses or whatever. And he offered me a job, said, hey, listen, after games, why don't you take a rack of sunglasses out and sell them, and let's sell them for $5, and I'll give you $1 for every pair you sell. So that was my start into selling outside of Wrigley. and I got hooked because I'm young. I'm like 10, 12 years old, and I got cash in my pocket, and it was actually pretty good during the summer. So we went from, so I started working for, his name is Forrest. I started working for Forrest, and we kind of went from sunglasses to then got into T-shirts, and then eventually got into the licensed stuff, which you see now, which is Cubs, licensed product. So it took many, many years, but I stuck with them all through, grammar school, all through high school, all through college. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my dad asked me when I was going to get a real job. But summer jobs are hard to come by, and this Forrest was paying me cash, and it was a good gig. So I stuck with it.
Yeah, it's like telling Mark Zuckerberg, "Why don't you get a real job?" You're 100% right. $73 billion later, 100% right. But yeah, totally.
Well, you know what's funny is a lot of the guys like Mark have stories like that. Like, I'm sure, possibly his parents or someone like him's parents said the same thing. Like, what are you messing around with this Facebook stuff for? Come on, get a real
lawyer,
job.
right? Why don't you become a lawyer or doctor, right? It's like something of use, right?
Exactly. So I did go to law school. I'm trying to listen to my parents.
Oh, did you really? Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm trying to do the right thing. But what happened was, as I stuck with Forrest, he started out and kind of built the business, the framework of a business. And he unfortunately he passed, excuse me, in 2004. And so me and 3 other guys took over the business. And at that point, we were just kind of selling souvenirs outside of Wrigley Field. And then, we started getting into the Bears, the Blackhawks, the Bulls, all the other the White Sox, all the other Chicago teams. And then we started getting retail stores and, kind of grew from there. But at the time of his death, we had only been outside of Wrigley Field, and we were only selling Cubs merchandise.
Right. So it was like a little stand outside of Wrigley Field, essentially?
Yeah, we had a few of them, though. But yes, there was a few stands outside of Wrigley, no retail stores. And then, eventually we got into retail as the years went by.
Right. So when you finally exploded and became freaking Clark Street Sports, did you go back to your dad and see, I told you so, look at me, whatever. Did you have that moment where you're just like, screw everyone, I made the right decision?
You know what? No. And you know what? I'm a dad now, so like,
all right, you got soft. Yeah.
I got my son and daughter, who are, they're only 8 and 10, but they're going to get there where one day they're going to need some advice from their dad. But it's not bad advice to get a real job.
No,
so
right.
I ended up getting my law degree, and so I have a law degree, and it's a good. I mean, it's good.
It's good to have.
It's great to have. I kind of wish I had my $100,000 back, but it is good to have, and it is good advice for your kids or anyone out there.
Right. All right. So, I mean, being a lawyer, I'm sure it kind of benefits you tremendously owning your own business. I mean, because every business has a lawyer nearby somewhere or on speed dial. You're your own lawyer. So I'm sure it's benefited you in some way, shape, form, or another, right?
It helps. I mean, so look, I look over a lot of our leases that we have to sign, and then I use it all my emails. Even today, like if I sent you an email, you'd see attorney at law down at the bottom there. It's just a little.
Right. Doesn't he own Clark Street Sports? I'm pretty sure he owns his own law firm too.
Well, it's just helpful to know people don't want to mess with lawyers, so it's good. It's good to have.
Absolutely.
And then if anyone's thinking twice about, if anyone thinks they're going to sue us, they know they're in for a fight. So.
Has anyone actually tried suing you for anything?
Yes, we've been sued. We got sued. We're currently involved in a lawsuit where a lady slipped and fell during the World Series. That was a slip and fall, and she filed, a day before the statute of limitations ran out. So that case is still going on. And then, unfortunately, we had an attorney. I don't know if he actually sued us, but he's been threatening to sue us over over not being ADA compliant on the web.
Oh, and, yeah, I know about that.
that one really irked me because we are ADA compliant, and so I don't know where that is. My partner is handling that issue, but we may have to go to court over that. Who knows now? It's a new world we're living in, so we'll see if those type of lawsuits go away.
There are a bunch of pricks out there that literally just drive around looking for ways to sue someone. Like, I know there are people, it was in the news, they would drive by like physical locations to like measure like handicap parking. Like if it's supposed to be 12 feet, but it's 11 feet and 3 inches, they'll sue them. And like technically, according to the law, they're right. They make a fortune of it, but everyone hates them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that adds no value to anybody. Like pisses everyone off.
and what they do is they force the business into a situation where, okay, you're either going to pay the lawyers or you're going to pay this guy to go, this lawyer, whoever it is, to go away. And so 9 times out of 10, you just settle with the person that's suing you, for, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar, for a significant amount of money, but the whole idea is just to settle so that you don't have to deal with court and paying lawyers and a whole lawsuit. So it's a no-win situation for the business owner.
Especially now with coronavirus, people are having their own issues, especially small business owners. Like, this is the last thing they need to worry about. Some schmuck coming up to their driveway and saying, your pavement isn't measured correctly. We're suing you for $100,000. Like, they don't have $100,000. That's a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully people have stopped doing that amid coronavirus, because you really have no soul whatsoever if people are still doing that crap.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for too. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
When you're dealing with this stuff, like, your partner deals with it, like, you don't hire out, right? Or do you? Like, you just don't want to deal with this garbage?
We've hired what we call real lawyers before. Sure. I have, I've dealt, so I do the leases if they're kind of temporary deals, meaning like they're a year or two or less. But if they're going to be a permanent deal, which is 5 years or more, we bring in a real lawyer just because, that's not my area expertise at all. And my law school knowledge is now 15 years old. And so, it's best to go to a professional who does this for a living,
Gotcha. Also, you were doing real estate law?
No. Just you take a real estate law class in law school. But no, my interest was criminal law. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney or something.
Kind of went the other way around on that one. Criminal defense attorney. Wow. Is that really I'm assuming you aren't interested in that anymore, or maybe you are. And like, is that still a thing? Or?
Well, I'm the guy who cries when you watch a movie and the innocent guy is in jail and he spent 30 years for a crime he didn't commit. So I wanted to help people like that out and get out, and I still do. If Clark Street ever falls apart, I can fall back on that.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's too many of people who are innocent and they're sitting in a jail cell somewhere. Do you watch on Netflix? Did you ever see The Making of a Murderer? I'm sure that's something you gotta you seen it? You seen it?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, I think I've watched all the seasons. Yeah.
What? It was actually very interesting. I don't know. Netflix just kind of put it on my top recommendations. I just saw it. I just got hooked like everybody else. But it's a thing, unfortunately. What do you think of the whole thing? Do you actually think he's innocent, or?
Yes, I do think he's innocent. I do. And you know what? And I'm not 100% sure of that, but I do think that our justice system says, that you can't really put people in jail unless you have, unless the evidence is beyond a reasonable doubt. Right. And there's reasonable doubt for sure all over the place. And the police, were planting evidence and whatnot. And I don't think he should be in jail.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got. I mean, just when they did the cell tower, especially when they actually try to recreate the second lawyer, the really good one, the woman, whatever, when she was trying to recreate the actual scene, like he was nowhere near the scene, like his, you know what I mean? And right, brilliant. And yeah, and also you can't burn a body, really. Like they were saying, you can't, it doesn't. It's insane. Absolutely insane. So I'm just wondering, if you're doing Clark Street Sports, totally, but like, is there like a little bit of a thing, like only if, God forbid, something happens with Clark Street Sports, or are you just gonna be like, yeah, I'm just gonna hand off the business to my kids or whatever, and I'm just gonna go to become a criminal attorney or something?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm 46, so I've got plenty of time to figure that out. But maybe, I don't know. I'll tell you this: I'm never going to be the type of guy that retires at 55 or 65 and says, "Yeah, I'm done working. I'm going to go sit by the pool and read the paper." Although I do like to do those things, but I'll be working till the day I die. So if it's not with Clark Street, who knows? Maybe it would be, as a lawyer or in some capacity, helping people out in some way.
I'm right there with you. We're one of the few people that still read the paper.
I read the New York Times every Sunday.
So I get both. I got the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal delivered to my house. Well,
Yeah,
when they actually get delivered, sometimes they just never show up. I don't know. It's a problem. But
well, that's you got to talk to your neighbors about that. That's you might have a neighbor in the area who likes reading one of those two publications.
Unfortunately, yeah, they beat me at 4:00 in the morning. I'm sorry. I have to like wait outside, wait for the guy to show, like personally. But yeah.
Is that how early you get up?
No, I don't get. Are you kidding? No, it's probably my third pee or of the night or whatever it is. But no, I don't get up at 4:00. Unless I absolutely have to. But no, unless I have a meeting with Clark Street Sports in Chicago, I'm not getting up at 4:00. I'm sorry.
Well, we're not having a meeting unless we're at a bar. We're not having a meeting.
Yeah,
at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. So what, with this whole thing that's going on, obviously every business is impacted in some way, shape, form, or another. How are you guys doing in general?
Well, we've been impacted pretty great. So a big part of our business is outside of stadiums. So we talked about my upbringing being outside of Wrigley Field, and we have a lot of our business outside of Wrigley, outside of Soldier Field, and outside of United Center in Chicago. So we're a very stadium-driven business, and as you know, there are no fans in the stadiums this year, and so that business doesn't exist. We also have, we have 3 locations downtown Chicago, and those locations primarily service tourism, and that's also an area where there's no tourists. And what's happened is people are not going to work like they used to. We're downtown, we're these huge office buildings and whatnot. And, you go downtown today and I want to say it's a ghost town. I mean, it's nothing compared to what it used to be. So all that business is gone. And then we are in a bunch of malls, and the mall business is probably down 50%. So
I would actually expect more for some reason, but
yeah, it hasn't been terrible. I mean, I think people have largely in the summer, a lot of people were off work, didn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a lot of unemployment checks going out and stimulus checks going out.
Sure.
So I think the malls have held up okay. Nothing to write home about, but they're we're surviving in them. And then where we've grown and done well is online. So that's been we've seen an uptick in sales online. But other than online, we're down everywhere else, of course.
Right, it's more expensive. Yeah. Do you have like a rough estimate how much you're up in terms of percentage wise?
I don't know anything recent, but I remember early on my partner saying we're up 35%.
Wow, that's big time.
That was early. That was like March or April, when it kind of first started. So, and I think we've maintained that. So I would guess that's around the number we're at.
Do you think a lot of those shipments, are they just like people just ordering mass, or are they like actually ordering like real merchandise, like t-shirts, coffee mugs, stuff like that?
Mass have been a big seller. So
you
you're right about
mass.
that.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys have cool mass.
Yeah, we have huge mass and gator scarves. But yeah, I mean, people are buying t-shirts and hats and whatnot. Listen, people still love sports.
They got its back. I think baseball is back.
Yeah, baseball is back. All the sports are back except for football, and that's right around the corner.
Right.
And people still love sports. And we had, you may have seen The Last Dance, Michael ESPN, that documentary on Jordan. Yeah. So I mean that kind of we saw an uptick in Bulls sales, And
Correct.
the Bulls themselves are pretty awful. The team today is pretty awful, but it helps that we have a generation of people that got to see the Last Dance and see what championships and winning looks like, and they were buying, so that was good. But yeah, I mean, I think I think for the most part, you're right. Masks and scarves are the big sellers for sure this summer.
I think those are really high margin though, no?
Yeah, they are. They're
It costs nothing to ship also, so I think that's good for the business, no? Or in general.
yeah, so that's good. And then yeah, they don't weigh a lot. But it depends. The licensed masks are not that much margin, but if we make them ourselves, then they are a good margin, and that's been good. So what we do is we we can't, obviously you can't put Cubs or White Sox or Bulls on a mask. But what you can do is you can say North Side or South Side or something that kind of relates to the team, but it's not a directly licensed product. So the actual licensed product is not nearly as profitable as the stuff that we're able to do ourselves. And we do a lot of Chicago flag stuff and Chicago stuff.
For sure. When you say license, like, is that like literally there's merchandise? Like, does that mean you just buy a license? You can make your own stuff. You could put Chicago Cubs or White Sox, or like you're just buying merchandise that says that's already made that just has their logos on. Or both,
yeah.
huh?
So we're not allowed to make any of it. All the leagues work with certain vendors. We'll say Nike, New Era, 47 brand. Those are some of the big players, Adidas. And those are licensed companies that are allowed to make, product for that specific league. And so we have to buy through them, and we have great relationships with all the vendors. And so we buy from them. And so they have a lot of royalties that they have to pay the leagues. And so that product costs a lot more than what we're paying if we were to make it ourselves. But we're not allowed to make stuff ourselves that's licensed.
I assume like the minimum margin you have to make is at least 50%. No, like there are things you're making less on, depending on the actual dollar amount of the item.
Oh no, yeah, you hit on the head. We have to double our money on everything.
Absolutely.
And we try to, of course, triple and more, but you have to double. That's the bottom.
Yeah, 100%. Especially you got rent to pay. Have any of your landlords given you a hard time now, or they've been pretty good? Because Chicago, they happen to be nice people in general. So
yeah, we've had to renegotiate all of our leases, and most of the landlords, I got to say, have been pretty good to us and patient with us, and have reworked leases, have kind of said let's see what happens, and we go month to month, things like that. Some landlords have said, listen, why don't you we don't know what it'll bring, so why don't you just give us a percentage of your sales rather than a flat fee. So I think all those are fair, reasonable, and so we've had to do that with pretty much every location. And then there's been a couple that are downtown that there's just no revenue at. We're not even open. And those, we still have to work stuff out. But for the most part, it's been great to work with the landlords. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you saw my face or something? You got frightened?
No, a message came up saying I need a longer limit on Zoom or something like that. I don't know.
Are you serious? Oh man, I don't know. People have asked me, it's like, do you pay for Zoom? I'm like, absolutely not. They're like, do you have a limit? They've never limited me once ever. Like
I thought you had 40 minutes and then there was a trick, like you could still kind of go back in and do it again or something.
Right. So they originally said 40 minutes, but I think coronavirus are like, they lifted the limit, but I have never had an issue. Like I do interviews, most of the time it's over an hour. Sometimes I've never been, called off or anything. Maybe I'm like the only person on earth that doesn't pay for Zoom and still gets like the full effect.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, by saying that you just jinxed it, and Zoom will for sure cut us off here.
Listen, if Zoom is listening to my interview, I greatly take that too. That works for me.
It's a pretty big compliment. It's an honor.
You get on like the New York Post, man doesn't pay for Zoom. Whatever it is. Does Chicago have their own version of like the New York Post or something like that? Or it's really just like the New York Post has that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, we have the Chicago Tribune, and then we have Chicago Sun-Times. So I'd say the Sun-Times is much more like the Post.
Right. Like they'll get up there and like remember like when Ted Cruz made fun of New Yorkers or whatever, and then the next day the New York Post put on like the Statue of Liberty, literally giving him the finger, like take the F you train Ted or something like
Yeah.
that. Like
Well,
I feel like it's not something Chicago people would do. Chicago,
it's tabloid. Yeah, not nearly as much as New York. No,
Yeah.
but a little bit. But it's tabloid. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so tell me about so the place that you're in currently right now, like physically, it's a warehouse and a retail store. So you're shipping product out of there. People can walk in and buy stuff. Do you see this as like a new trend for retailers? Because obviously, as opposed to paying for a warehouse and a retail store, you kind of combine them. Target does that 80% of their e-commerce is shipped out of the store directly, so it gets their customer even faster. And obviously cheaper. Do you see that as like a thing, or just, you're doing this once and that's it?
No, I mean, I think it's smart business to, if you're going to pay for space, whether you're paying a mortgage payment or you're paying rent to a landlord, just using it as, we'll call it storage, which is what traditional warehouses are using them for, makes no sense. The way to go is to use it not just for storage in terms of storing your inventory, but you're using it to make revenue. So you're selling to consumers who are walking through your door, you're shipping out web orders as much as possible. So you're using the facility to generate revenue. So I think it's for sure, we are not the first to come up with this. And I think the trend has been going on for many years now and will continue to. Smart business. So yeah, what we do here is we were able to find a space that worked for us. So we have it's a 13,000 square foot warehouse with like a 7,000 square foot parking lot, and
wow.
Yeah, and so we have space for our employees and space for our customers to come and shop with us here. And this space has really worked out real well. We do, it's our hub, it's our headquarters. So we, let's say I order 200, Cubs masks. I'm just giving an example. They would all be delivered here to our warehouse. And from here, we distribute them to the stores based on what they need. So a lot of companies will, order them straight to the store, and we could do that. But we like to control things. And so what we do is we bring it here first, make sure it's the order was accurate, count it all in, and then get it distributed. We have a fancy POS system and send it out to the stores there. And then we also do all our web, if you order something on the web today, it would ship out of this warehouse here. We do that here. And this place so we moved in October of 2016, which if you follow baseball, the Cubs ended up winning the World Series that year. And we were here for the playoff run. That's how we started. And when we got here, so there were, during the World Series and right after, there were lines and lines of people outside this warehouse. So it was pretty awesome to be here during that time.
Honestly, I couldn't imagine being there. Like you're probably literally stacked to the rafters. Like you probably couldn't. There was no airspace probably in your store.
Yeah, we had semi trucks parked. Trying to deliver down the alley. It was a wild time. I got no sleep, and there was boxes everywhere, and unfortunately, I'm sure there was some theft going on, but we also did very well for ourselves.
Yes. Thank God. $7,000 parking lot. Do you think that's a little bit too big? Like, or is that just like perfect amount? Even though you guys are doing very well in general.
Well, it's smaller than you think. It only fits 18 cars. So it's not that big. And then the other thing is we have two trailers because we sell out of trailers outside of Wrigley Field and out of Soldier Field where the Bears play. And so we have our two trailers parked in the lot here. So they take up like 4 spots right there. So it's not as big as you think. If I was designing this from scratch, would I have that much parking? Maybe I'd rethink it or maybe do the you know, the parking underground or whatever, but we bought it as is, and you know, though that's how it's set up. So we didn't really have a choice in that.
When
But
you
yeah,
s-
I like it.
That's awesome. When you say you sell a trailer, what do you mean exactly?
We have like a merchandise trailer, like I don't know, have you ever been to like a NASCAR event and they have this huge merchandise trailers? Ours are not quite as big, but we have, you know, we have trailers that you lift up the windows and the merchandise is in the trailer. And so
Right.
you know, you as a customer kind of walk up to the trailer and you point to the t-shirt and say, I'll have t-shirt number 6 in a large or whatever. And then we hand it to you out of the trailer. So we sell out of the trailer, and the trailer's on wheels so we can move it. So we
Right.
set it up for the day and move it after the day is over, that sort of thing.
When you say sell it, like you're selling to a company or somebody that will handle the selling part, you just sell it to them like wholesale or whatever it is. We'll ship it to you. We'll take it home with us. Is that, or you're actually doing the selling?
No, we're selling. So like we'll
Right.
drive a trailer to Wrigley Field on the
Right.
corner of Clark and Waveland right outside the stadium, and we sell out of the trailer. We sell merchandise out of there.
I'm assuming you got to get like permits for that and all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you can't just set up anywhere. You have to set up on private property, and so you have to have, you know, you pay rent to the landlord there, and then you have to have a permit from the city to sell in that capacity. So yeah, there's a lot of licensing behind it, but yeah, the trailers have worked out well. We also we take them, you know, they're mobile, so that's nice, especially in this world. So we've been able to we take them out to Arizona every year where the Cubs play spring training in March.
Genius.
Yeah. So, you know, we've been able to, you know, with the trailer, it allows us to kind of go set up a temporary spot and then come back to Chicago.
Right. And obviously you sell exclusively Chicago sports and Chicago themed stuff. I'm assuming you're always going to stick there, right? You're not going to like go outside of that realm.
Yeah, I mean, we've dabbled. You know, we had Kansas City Chiefs merchandise when they won.
Yeah, sure.
When they won the Super Bowl. So we've dabbled, but 99% of our stuff is Chicago. That's kind of our niche. That's what separates us from, you know, the big boys, the Lids and the Dicks and Fanatics, is they have everybody, but it's kind of like a generic product from everybody. We like to say, hey, we have exclusive Chicago product, and it's unique. We don't just sell the same stuff everyone else is selling. We add a little twist, and we add a little Chicago flavor in there.
Yeah.
And so it works well. So Chicagoans like to buy our stuff.
Just let me know when you sell like an actual good Mets hat. I've been looking for a really good Mets hat. I can't find. Apparently, I have a big head. I can't fit into normal hats either. I need a good Mets hat. So if you come across one, just let me know. I don't know if that's against your religion because you are a Chicago guy. So, but yeah.
No, I got cousins who are from New York, so they're always asking me the same stuff.
Gotcha. So obviously that's genius with the trailer. You can actually literally move your stuff to go to where the people are essentially. Have you sold on any other platform like Amazon or, you know, any other type of place like that? Have you delved into it?
A little bit, but the leagues really frown on and don't they. Not only do they frown on it, they don't allow us to sell on third-party sites, you know, Amazon or Google Shop or whatever. So we're real restricted. Of course, we can sell our own stuff, the Chicago flag stuff that we make, or any other, you know, stuff that's not licensed. But because we're selling licensed goods through the leagues have rules, and one of the rules is they don't want us selling on Amazon. So
that's very interesting. I didn't know
we're
that.
pretty restricted in that sense.
Wow. Why do you think? Because they're just like obviously pissed. Like Amazon keeps lowering everyone's prices and screwing everybody. So I'm assuming that's why.
You
probably can't say that on camera.
Well, and I don't know exactly what their motives are, but one thing I've learned in this world is that everything relates to money. And so,
of course, absolutely.
For some reason, it's beneficial to them to restrict companies from selling on Amazon. There's angles there.
Right.
So.
I understand. And by the way, I'm so glad you said that Personally, if someone can understand that the world, unfortunately, it's just the cold hard truth. The world is run on money. I know there are people like, oh, the money is the doubt, whatever. Unfortunately, nothing gets done unless money is exchanged somewhere, whatever it is. So anyways, you mentioned you had a fancy POS. Do you actually have like something that's unique, or why don't you tell me a little bit more about your POS system?
No, actually, we used for years we used NetSuite, which is now owned by Oracle, and we just left them. They got really pricey, and so we left that POS system. We're using a new one called Bright Pearl, and I don't know much about them. Like my partner handles that part, but I know they're a London software company, and their niche is retail. So this is built for retail. And so, we started using it, and we switched to them in March, at the height of
this year.
Yeah, the March of this year, right during, Corona hit and everything shut down is when we switched it. It actually made for great timing because trying to switch to a new system, while conducting business is tough. So it worked out perfect in that sense.
Yeah. What was there like any problems of like switching over? Like there were problems that came up, the system wasn't working for that reason, or just time to learn the new system at all?
I mean, there's still problems. I mean, software is expensive and not perfect. So, we're still working with the company. We have a pretty good relationship with them. So we're still working with them on fixing things for us. I mean, these software companies, they kind of build templates but every company is different. And so we have needs that another company may not need. And so it's not as simple as building a template, right? You have to kind of work with the company and figure what works and what doesn't work and what they need, specially done, and what the other company doesn't need, that sort of thing.
When you say like you have specific needs, what exactly do you mean? Like, I assume like the main thing you guys need, obviously you need to transact. That's number one. And I'm assuming number two is something to do with marketing or getting people's information. You can send them an email about a future deal or something like that. Why don't you explain exactly what specifically you mean by that?
Well, it's just, it's how it's the backbone of your whole business. And so it's how you keep inventory of everything. It's how you keep inventory in every store. It's how you track every customer. It's how you track every sale. It's how you track every return. It's how you track, everything that happens in your company. You want it to go through the software system. And so you have a record of everything, and you then from there you can take the analytics and use it to your advantage. So for example, if we know we sold 300 of this hat and it took us 48 days to sell that one hat, whereas this other hat we did sell 300 but it took us 98 days, we know first of all that the first hat was a lot better to buy, but also that it sells twice as fast. And so it gives us information that we wouldn't have if we didn't have a software system and we were just kind of guessing, which is what we used to do for many years, which is kind of say, oh, that's a hot seller. Let's, order that one, which kind of works in a way. But with technology, I mean, it's really helped zero in on what's making you money and what's not,
Right.
So it's real important. I mean, the software has to come off without a glitch, and then there's glitches. Yes, when we switched over there were problems. The inventory wasn't lining up correctly, and I don't want to get into every detail because I would bore anyone who's watching, but lots of issues that are still being worked out.
Actually, I'm one of the few people who find this interesting. Actually, like I honestly want to know the problem, because I know a lot of. I'm in that. You know what I do? I'm in that bit. Not technically in that business, but I have around like 20 credit card processing affiliates of mine. So I know the game very well, and so I know a lot of people. So I'm just interested to hear your perspective on how this is working, because not keeping track of inventory is a problem. Like, especially if someone's going to tell you, this is what we do, and it's just not getting done. That's a problem. But I'm sure it's just growing pains, honestly.
It is, and if you really want to get technical, we'd have to bring my partner in who does the IT. But the biggest problem was just that they use two different systems, and they weren't syncing together all the time, and so there's a delay. So you put information on one side, and it should be instant to the other side, but it's not. So that's been the biggest challenge. But a lot of the stuff is just like, I want retails on my POs, and when I print it out, it doesn't show the retail, it only shows the cost. And so there's a lot of little small issues that you can get by with, but you want them your way because you're paying the software company a lot of money.
Yeah. Is it really expensive, or just like a monthly thing, or?
It's an annual thing. I think NetSuite was running us close to $200,000 a year, and with Brightpearl, I think we're under 100. So
I was not expecting that number, actually. Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive. Software is expensive.
And then is it just the software, or they get you on the processing fees as well, and that kind of thing?
Well, that's that we use someone else for processing. We use
okay.
We use Square, so
right.
We like Square, although it's not the cheapest.
Right.
But it does seem to work the best. So
yeah. Honestly, like, a lot of people don't understand that it's really not just what you think is like cheaper or not. A lot is also chargebacks, right? Someone walks into your store, buys $1,000 worth of stuff, leaves the store, and then calls MasterCard and says, by the way, I never bought this, so you're left with a bill. You have to work with a company that's going to back you up on that. Obviously the guy freaking walked into your store, just bought $1,000 worth of stuff. If they, that's a bigger deal I feel like most people aren't aware of, right? I'm sure you see this all the time, right? With chargebacks and all that garbage.
I do, and there's not much that irks me more than just chargebacks.
Chargebacks, yeah.
It's just so unfair. You came into the store, you spent the money, unless of course it's a stolen credit card or whatever, and that's a legit chargeback. But a lot of times it's not. It's just people double dipping, getting away with stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another challenge of the business. But yep. But we do work with Square, and they're pretty good about that stuff. So.
Yeah. Like I know a store in Miami Beach. Somebody ordered $1,000 worth of stuff, right? And he's like, okay. I mean, he ordered some stuff and he shipped it. All of a sudden, he gets a chargeback. So he's the one out $1,000. And then they tried ordering it like $6,000 worth of stuff. He obviously canceled. How do you? I mean, you're in a store where if someone spends, let's say, like $500, $1,000, it's actually like a normal transaction. Is there? I mean, I'm sure there's no real way of telling if someone's going to like try to screw around here or not, or you just call Square and just Square that takes care of it or something.
Now with so things have gotten a little bit better now that you have to insert it's a chip reader, right? So right. It's a little harder to scam than it used to be with the swiping. And by the way, $500 to $1,000 sales are not very common at Clark Street Sports because we're selling, $25 to $30 t-shirts and hats.
Gotcha.
So it is rare. So when we see that, we do, we always ask for IDs or whatever.
Right.
When they use a credit card, we check IDs. Although I don't know if that's been happening since Corona. You're not supposed to be like exchanging cards or whatever. But for a big sale like that, you better, our store managers know to double check that. So yeah. At
the end of the day, I mean, it's you guys' money, so you better damn check the thing. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Right. So obviously, if you've seen any of the news, or you mentioned you did read the paper. No matter, I mean, I don't want to point fingers. At the end of the day, there's a problem with shipping, right? Something is going on with the shipping. Honestly, yesterday, I didn't get mail probably for the first time in as long as I can remember. I did not get mail. Like, have you ever gone a day where you did not get mail? If it's not on a holiday, normal weekday.
I mean, it's been years. No, I can't remember. One day, that day doesn't come to mind. So no.
Right.
No, the mail. I mean, that's what's great about the post office. They're reliable and they come every day. And
I love
they're
the post office.
amazingly reasonably priced for.
Absolutely. For e-commerce, the greatest thing ever. First class mail. I
Yeah.
mean, it is like people don't understand. Like you can ship something, it can be at your door in 2 days, and you're paying, you know, probably $3, whatever it is. Who does that? Nobody does that. I love the post. Everyone rips the post office for everything. I think the people who rip on them don't understand e-commerce. They also don't understand shipping. I think first class mail is a great. But have you seen like it was? Is there any disruption at all in terms of customers complaining like there's a problem also with COVID and everything, or everything kind of is like normal? Everything's kind of working out.
I think everything's been working out. We haven't noticed any huge problems, but also I'll say that I think people are being they're more they're not as bothered by stuff like that in today's world.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's like there's bigger fish to fry, right? Like,
Right.
you know, my grandma's sick. Why am I worried about a Cubs hat that'll come a day late or whatever? So
Right.
we have not had that problem, but there were challenges before COVID, you know, and Amazon's really put the heat on small businesses like ourselves to get like packages out. Like we try to get, if you place an order, we try to get it out that day.
Right.
And we're real insistent. We don't promise it, but we're real insistent with our staff that, you know, stuff goes out the same day, at worst the next day, as when someone orders it, because that's what people expect nowadays. I mean, I expect it when I order from Amazon or wherever now. I expect it right away. And so, you know, if you want to survive in this climate, you better learn how to ship properly and fast. And so we've definitely kept up with that challenge. But I do think you kind of get a little bit of a pass during Corona because there's more important issues at stake. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I just interviewed Sloan Dean, is CEO of Remington Hotels. They're a big hotel management company.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he was mentioning that. I asked him, is what's going to be a big difference in the hotel industry? He said, like, making the beds in the room. He's like, it's not expected to make your bed every day. And so I asked him about, but what about, he does very, very luxurious hotels as well. Like you always, like in those places you have like a totally different clientele. They expect your bed to be made every day. And he's like, I mean, listen, we have not seen a problem in that. And obviously from COVID, but he obviously has to test it out, you know, more to see if like that will be like that, like in normal times. But yeah, absolutely. So before COVID ever happened, what was the state of the business? Like, were you guys constantly looking for more locations, like try to expand more? Like what were you kind of doing?
So our business relies on team performance. And so we carry 5 teams. They're all Chicago teams. So really our kind of business plan, it sounds crazy, but our business plan revolves around how we think the teams will do. So if you were to tell me you think the Cubs are going to win the World Series in the next 3 years, we would get aggressive on, hey, let's prepare. The Cubs are going to win. You know, we think the Cubs may win in the next couple of years. Let's get aggressive. Where would Cubs stuff sell best? Oh, can we get a deal in this mall or this location? And so, yes, we're always looking. We're hustlers. We're looking for opportunities, but it all depends on the team. So, you know, right now you wouldn't want to buy a bunch of Bulls merchandise, and you wouldn't want to stake your business on Bulls because they're an awful team. Doesn't mean they won't change in the future, but that wouldn't make good business sense. The Bears, I don't know. We don't really have our quarterback situation figured out.
I mean, come on. Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
like,
but
you guys are repaid in the Blackhawks. They seem to always be good no matter what.
Well, Blackhawks, you know, they got lucky this year or whatever with the you know, with the COVID situation. They got in the playoffs when they shouldn't have, but they haven't made the playoffs in 3 years.
Oh.
So, and they're, you know, they have they have the same guys who won Stanley Cups, but they also have a lot of young guys, and they're a new team. So we wouldn't kind of invest in the Blackhawks either right now. But you know, the Bears kind of threw us for a loop. If you remember, before last season began, there was talk of the Bears being Super Bowl contenders.
They were awesome. Yeah, they were like 12-4 or something, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago they were 12-4, and
they
so
lost the first round or something, right? Like something like that.
They lost the first game of the season to the Packers, and it just turned miserable. It was a miserable year. So that's the gamble, and that's the business we're in, is kind of gambling on these teams and, you know, hoping they'll do well, but being smart with it, because you know, teams are often predicted to do well and contenders, and then they fall, you know. So
right. You have to do like your own scouting reports.
We do.
That's hilarious. That's great.
But we follow the teams. We also follow the players, because a lot of our merchandise is player driven. We have Javi Baez bobbleheads, and if Javi Baez gets hurt or Javi Baez gets traded, we're not selling his jersey, we're not selling his bobblehead, we're not selling his T-shirt. So you got to be careful with all this stuff. It's very player driven and team driven.
Yeah, I saw one of your T-shirts today. I think when I was scrolling through your website, I think it's like be as cool as Javi and wear his pajamas or something like that.
I know we have that company is called Obvious Shirts, and they make some great shirts. They have a whole line of Cubs T-shirts. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. You can go to his site or our site at ClarkStreetSports.com. But yeah, those are some awesome shirts. They all relate. A lot of them relate to the Cubs. He does have socks and bears as well, but the Cubs ones are awesome.
Right.
His newest one this year was 2020 Sucks. That one sells pretty good.
Nice. Do you guys ever? I remember I went to a White Sox game when I was a kid. Not in Chicago, obviously in Chicago, but at the White Sox. I remember seeing all those, like when like Sammy Sosa was still playing, he just got caught for like cork or something. Did you guys saw all those cork shirts as well? Like Sammy, like the Cubs instead of Cubs, cork, whatever. Or no, like you can't possibly do that. You're like big time Chicago people.
So we don't anymore, but yeah, we used to sell all that stuff.
Oh,
that was us out on the street. We used to sell all that stuff, corked and all kinds of. We'd go to Comiskey Park and sell Cubs Suck T-shirts, and then come back to Wrigley and sell Sox Suck T-shirts. And
business is business.
That's right. We were interested in the green, not necessarily. Right. I mean, I'm a Chicago fan, so
right.
I want both of them to do well.
Right. I'm assuming you're a Cubs fan, though, like at heart, right? You're
more Cubs, yeah. But I don't hate the Sox like a lot of people. I mean, you know, right now the Sox look awesome. I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll be fun if the Sox get a run this year.
Yeah, they have a really. I mean, they literally have been sucking for the last forever and have been compiling all these draft picks. So it's only a matter of time. I feel like they have to do something, you know, unless they just complete waste. The guy just threw a no-hitter last night.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I'll tell you, the buzz in Chicago is now on the south side. The Sox are the buzz of the city. Even though the Cubs, I think they have a better record and they started off pretty hot, but the Sox have definitely stolen the buzz from the Cubs this year so far.
So when something like that happens, where like Giolito throws a no-hitter, does that mean like you're getting your printing presses like going crazy now, doing like no-hitter type stuff? Is that like part of the business?
So there is a T-shirt company who's making a no-hitter T-shirt. So I was offered that shirt today, but I didn't order it, and I'll tell you why. This company usually takes like 2 weeks to get me the shirt, and they just don't understand that in today's world, 2 weeks, you might as well take 2 years, because it's out of people's mind by then. You know, but so by the time we have it, it's an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, he did throw a no-hitter. You know, so I didn't purchase it, but
right.
It is good to have stuff like that on the day of, you know, while it's fresh in people's minds. You'll sell a lot of stuff. If we could have a no-hitter shirt today,
right. All right, so in terms of like the printing press and stuff like that, I mean, obviously I understand like you can't put like real logos on there like the White Sox or whatever, but have you thought about ever like doing your own stuff in terms of just like writing no hitter and like maybe just a general person, like you don't actually see a face or anything, it's just like an outline of a person, stuff like that? It's just like general whatever? Or
yeah, and believe me, we've done stuff like that in the past, and we still will when the time comes. But I'll tell you that the league still frowns on that. See, they look at it as you're kind of as though you're going around them, and you don't have to pay them a royalty. And so basically like they don't like it. I'm not saying like you're doing anything illegal or anything morally wrong. I think it's perfectly appropriate, but they don't like it. And at the end of the day, the leagues are our partners. We don't want to be on the bad side of any of these leagues, so we take that into account. So yeah, I could do that. I could make a no-hitter shirt that doesn't say White Sox, and it's perfectly legal, but it's not worth it in this case. So you just got to weigh the pros and cons when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just a matter of just like 2 freaking weeks. Like that's just unacceptable. That they should be running those things all night long and getting them out to you next day, right? Like it's unacceptable. It's not like you want to go around them. They just suck at getting your product. Like, have you told them that? Like, you guys suck at getting us product.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
And what do they say? Like, I'm sorry, whatever.
No, they know, the whole industry knows it.
And they just do nothing about it. Like nothing. They don't try to fix it. Whatever. They're just
No,
like, well, this is the way we've been doing business for 50 years, so we're not going to change.
No, the problem is you've got a company named Fanatics that kind of is in control of the whole industry, and they are in both on the wholesale side and the retail side, and they really don't care about the wholesale side. They're interested in making money in retail, so they'll get it out to themselves right away. They'll have it on their website today. I'm sure if I looked right now, it'd be on there, or tomorrow. But for the small businesses or whatever that are on the outskirts trying to get a t-shirt, they'll get to it, and that's been their attitude. So
so it's you're getting your stuff from Fanatics?
Yeah, Fanatics is the licensed company. Yeah.
Wow. So that sucks. That I do know Fanatics, their whole thing was that they almost drop ship in a sense, meaning like, as opposed to I know that, let's say that there's a championship game, right? So you have 2 teams. So originally you would have to have inventory for both teams. So you're holding, no matter what, one team's going to win. So you have that inventory, but one team's going to lose. So you have all these inventory of this team that says championships when they didn't win. You got to either donate it or throw it out. So it's a waste. Apparently they will like, the Chicago Bulls have won the championship. Buy your t-shirt now. And when in the meantime, they're selling it, they haven't made it yet. They just have a bunch of like printing presses everywhere. How does that work? Like, is that basically how it works? Essentially?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. They don't, I'm sure they make a little, if you prepay for stuff, like if I said I want Bull, like you said, use the Bulls as an example. If I want Bulls, no matter if they win or lose, I can get it as long as I prepay for it. But other than that, they don't make the merchandise ahead of time. They wait to see who wins, which is smart business. But they're in the fortunate situation where they control the web. They control NBA.com, MLB.com, NHL.com, and NFL.com. So they can, kind of sit back and wait to see who wins. Whereas, for people like us, when we do that, then we have to wait for the merchandise to come. So it comes like a week or 2 later, it's a huge problem.
How is this not like an antitrust or something? You know what I mean? Like,
it should be. I don't know. I'm waiting for Amazon to sue them or something.
Because it's like, okay, I understand. Listen, if you got to deal with Major League Baseball, whatever it is, fine. You have the rights to sell their stuff, fine. But it shouldn't be like the only source of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that just seems to be that's a monopoly in my mind, or I think in anyone's definition, that's what we call a monopoly, where you literally control the entire market. That's insane. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a lawyer. You should start suing. Let's do this.
Right. Well, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. So that's the problem.
That's true. That's
if
true.
I wasn't in this business, I would sue them. But
there's no other wholesaler or anybody that you buy from. I mean, like, there's got to be somebody.
We've been waiting for lawsuits to happen, and they haven't. I know that there was a vendor that once took on the NFL, and they won their lawsuit, but then they got blackballed from being a vendor of the NFL. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that was to even their benefit, but
I actually do know one lawyer who sued Major League Baseball successfully for $50 million for something. I don't remember exactly what, but he was successful. I do know him. I personally have his phone number. Maybe I'll give him a call, see what he's doing, whatever.
Yeah.
So
See if he's ready to go back at it.
there we go. There we go. Well, yeah. No. Well, at the end of the day, yeah, it is what it is. But anyways, no, I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that maybe we haven't covered, maybe you're interested in talking about that I haven't?
No, just I love what I do. I love the business. I love the people I work with, and so I've been really lucky to have been brought up in this world and in this industry. So I don't know if that got lost in our talk, but I really like where I am and what I'm doing. So it's been an awesome, great experience.
Right. I think you epitomize the line that says, if you do what you like, you never work a day in your life, essentially.
Essentially, you're right. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, you literally watch Cub games in a sense. You know what I mean? It's like, who wouldn't want to do that?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm watching Cubs games while I'm working, but a lot of times I'm having a beer watching the game. So you're right.
That's right. Yeah. Have a beer with your customer. It doesn't matter. Everyone, I think that, brings in more business than it does the other way. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably millions of people who are very jealous of your position right now. So no, it's just great. I mean, you took you took the risk, you did it. Thank God you're very successful at it. And I hope it continues to really just dominate the Chicago market. Because again, as I mentioned at the start of this, you are the #1 place of Chicago stuff, sporting stuff. You're number one on Google. So that is not easy to get. I know how it works. It's very difficult. So congratulations on that one.
Well, thanks for having me. That's awesome, and thanks for telling me that. That made my day.
All right, no, I appreciate it. That's what I like to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do check out Clark Street Sports. I left the link down below. Please also remember to like and share with all your friends and family. We have a lot going on here at Maxin TV, a lot of really interesting and very unique interviews coming down the pipeline. So please remember to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be checking off here from Maxin TV. See you next time.